What's up, guys? Welcome. Funny game here and intense. A lot of things happen, and it's not your average migration game. I don't upload a lot of migration to the channel. Usually migration is something that people just don't play in ranked at relatively higher level. I think if I do upload Migra, it's usually low elo legends. This has things that happen that don't happen in normal migration. So yeah, should be fun. And you might recognize some of these names, or at least one of these names. In the blue, we've got Emu Warrior. Emu Warrior, a player who plays a lot of community games, hanging around the community for many years now. Is just over 2K these days. Very solid player. And he's also very quirky as far as I know. Doesn't play with small trees, which is why I have big trees on here. Doesn't play with sound half the time or something. I forget all the rumors I've heard. Anyways, it just shows you can be over 2K without those things. Emu's playing as Ethiopians, which is probably just random. There's no real big bonuses for Ethiopians that could apply to migration, but still good overall civ. And then this player, IM2K1, who's in the red, this player is known as Blade. This is a player from the UK and around 2K1. And Lithuanians may be a little bit better on these types of maps because this starting with the extra food means you can go to wood earlier. And if you can go to wood earlier, you can get the fishing ship out faster, etc. Now, in tournaments, the maps are more like customized and balanced. And the starting islands are situated a bit differently. But there's also a lot less potential for crazy, like, gens compared to the standard migration. I think the standard migration even has, like, wolves and whatnot. But this build from Blade is really, really tough to deal with. It's also really hard to execute. But usually if you're playing on water, players are going to have to go the whole way around. And so you tend to see a lot of fast castles on this map for that reason. But Blade used the additional food to get to wood very quickly. So that was a good part of the build. Already made the transport ship, bringing the scout and 2 villagers across. And basically he's looking. He's like, where's the end? Where's the end? Where's the end? You're hoping you find it. It's a bit risky. Obviously, you know there's got to be another shoreline. And this is going to be forward docks. Now, if you see your opponent hits feudal age at this time, it's one of two things. It is either fast galleys or it is forward dock. And Emu knows this, and Emu scouts with fishing ships and finds the forward dock. So that tells you immediately kind of what you need to do. But, like, it doesn't tell you what you need to do. It tells you what you're up against, rather, because you are not in feudal age yourself. So transport was made quickly by Emu. We've got 3 villagers and a scout headed to the middle, sneakily. One of the villagers is actually going to go this way. And the goal here is actually to hide the fish. Now, I'm going to slow it down a little bit. It was a little unfortunate for Emu because Emu hid the fish on another dock to get a little bit more value from it. But Blade came this way as well, and Blade found that, and Blade finds this. What Emu, I think, is going to attempt to do is save a couple fishing ships by building a new dock on the side. But, I mean, like, everything about this game for Red has been all about the fast pressure on the front. And already found the reward, already killed 3 fishing ships. These 2 are sailing away. They may die. And then at home, there's only 4 fishing ships for Red, but this is still some really nice aggression and damage. But Red doesn't know that the enemy is in the middle right now. which is what's going to make this very fun. Because there's still a transport ship for Emu. There's the villagers here that are building a stable. And now Red, what Red is focusing on is bringing a transport or the transport around and building a barracks here, which Emu doesn't see. So we have forward docks. We have forward barracks on the enemy island. We have galleys. We then have villagers in the middle for Emu, and we're not yet finished. Now, tiny thing there, if Red was able to look at that, Blue's transport is hiding in the shadows, but obviously Red's not looking at that. Red is looking here. Now, Emu didn't know about the barracks. Emu built a market, sold all the stone at the worst possible time. Because now, I mean, the selling of the stone was needed probably to click up to Castle Age. But now you can't build a tower. And your opponent's building an archer range here. So it's very likely you're going to get pushed off of your gold. Again, I think like the other thing too is Blade's been at this level for a bit longer. I don't know if Blade knows anything about Emu's reputation in community games or any of that stuff. But I do think that Blade's got a little bit of a better feeling about this. Probably knows he's higher elo, so he's just thinking, oh, I'm going to smash this guy, right? You could tell how confident the approach has been. The tower's going up. Archer range is happening. I mean, Emu's under a lot of pressure. And things are not looking good for the underdog right now. Not sure exactly what that was. But the nice thing is you get plus 100 food and plus 100 gold when you make it to the next stage, if you're Ethiopians. So you will still get some extra gold. There's the other gold back here, which Emu can fall back to. And now the archers, no fletching, by the way, and the scouts move this way. And Emu, who doesn't play with the small tree mod, so everything looks exactly like this, keeps the villagers safe for now. Still, there are units in the middle. There are scouts in the middle from Emu. Red does not know about this. Red is not thinking about this, and Red is not in Castle Age yet. So 6-0 on the eco KD for Red. Obviously, Red's benefited big time. Red's got safe fishing eco. Red killed the fish. Red's idling a lot of Emu's eco. But it's still kind of doable for Emu if you think about it. Castle Age can change a lot. There's 3 fishing ships fishing freely on the right, plus that Ville. There's the scouts in the middle. But Emu's still got a lot of work to do here to stop Red from doing damage. And I think Emu wanted to go Siege Workshop immediately, but forgot the Blacksmith. It's easy to forget when you're under pressure. You need the Blacksmith to unlock the ability to build the Siege Workshop. So, yeah. There it is. And Emu, who sold all the stone earlier, buys it back to build the town center, and will now have a TC in the middle, which is super important. So, you know, if I'm Red right now, I'm thinking, like, I'm not at all concerned if I know my opponent's going Siege. Now, Red doesn't know this, but all of this contributes towards water and the eco in the middle as far as I'm concerned. But what Red did do was Red, like, brought the villagers that could be building TCs in the middle eventually here. So these vills are going to have to get back eventually. We've got a stable now. So much for that. Of course, there was another tower that went up. Red's going to lose the scout. Emu's just holding on. And basically, if everything stays the same, everything's fine. Red's cooking big time. The eco's flying. It's completely untouched. Red's like, I'm an absolute god. I'm on his island. I've got the fish. How could I lose this game? Well, you don't know that your opponent has built a stable. You don't know that your opponent's gone for light cav, and you certainly don't know that they're going to use the transport to send it into your wood line. So that's how you can lose this game, Red. Red's going to get hit. Now, Red simultaneously still probably looking at a lot of this. It did kill another villager there on screen. And give credit to Red. Red does react almost immediately. But things get crazy here because every single villager that was on wood has to leave now. And there's not even enough room for the town center. So, yeah, you have the worker lead now, Red, but everything is so inefficient. And now idols are going to need to... spearmen are going to need to be created to get these villagers back to work on something else. So, nice job there from Emu. I mean, have you guys seen a migration game like this before? Please tell me if you have. Like, we've had land army on both of the starting islands from these players before we even talk about everything else. We haven't seen a single naval unit for Emu, which is kind of funny. Just that transport ship. But the transport ship did the job. Twice. It brought the vills to the middle, and it also brought those light cav over. Now, Red does have this stable, and Emu couldn't see that. I love sneaky buildings, man, and it was just like the barracks before. Emu finds out a little too late, and if Emu knew about it, Emu probably would have gone for a monastery. So the siege goes down, which means his tower probably stays up. The knights will probably die to the town center fire. But they took out the mangonel, which is really the big thing. Knight will back away. Knight dies. But yeah, now the monastery from Emu, who's getting really constricted here. Also, Emu lost the light cav. But there are town centers here. Now, you got to think, like, long term. What do you want on this map? Well, you want Vills in the middle. You want Vills in the middle. You want the relics there. So, now Red is benefiting from the fish. And Red has done a great thing to actually redock so the fish is more efficient. And Red also, I think, will find this dock, which it kind of hurts for Emu because he's been getting away with that. But Red is going to bring Vills to the middle, and this is where Emu has to... this is Emu's chance to still compete in this game. It's essentially denying that potential. Red builds a TC. Now, Red won't know about these farms. That's a spectator thing. So Red's just protecting those Vills from any potential light cav. And here, Red's still trying to be as annoying as possible. And Red just bought more stone, and you don't really want the second town center here, because that's just... you're just building more and more Vills there. But Red will see the double TC now from the opponent, and will go for the Siege Workshop. Now, Emu's distracted. The fishing ships are going to go down. Emu has to really pay close attention to eventually take this tower down. And so what Emu's thinking right now is dropping a castle. Emu knows there's a TC. The plan is set. Go to stone. You drop a castle on that TC. You protect your town centers, and then you're good to go. Again, Eco's still superior for Red. And Red's done a nice job. Also, just farming here. This is where you always want to farm. You never want to farm in the middle. But the spears for Red, one's going to get converted. Not the biggest deal, but Red doesn't exactly have a lot of army here to protect this position, right? Tower still not down. And no new knights on the way for Red. Red escaping this way with these Vills to potentially build another TC, but very restricted in terms of what's possible here. Now, Emu's going to watch this game, but I'm assuming. Emu is around my streams a lot. And Emu, if only there was a civilization that had more vision from their outposts. If only there was a civilization that got more vision on their outposts. Okay, there's an outpost coming up here. It's these types of things that make all the difference in the game, right? Having the vision, knowing there's a siege workshop. Unfortunately for Emu, Emu has to react to the fact that the opponent's building a castle here, dropping his own castle. He does have more Vills to build it, which is the crazy thing. But Emu does not have that eco lead. The Red's going to back away with this castle, decides against it. And there's a Spearman here attacking. There's still the Mangonel. There's the Scorpion. There's all this to look at. But Emu's already kind of committed to this castle. And, I mean, you're not even sure you're going to get this up. Because the opponent has Mangonels. I was a little surprised at how tentative Red was here. But I think when you see the castle foundation is that big, you figured it's going to go up soon and you don't want to lose your Mangonels. So castle for Emu goes up. I think critically, though, what it doesn't do is it doesn't shoot down that TC. That is the town center for Red to be able to add more Vills to the middle. And Red adding fishing ships from these docks on the front. Still adding fishing ships from some of these other docks as well. There's a new dock. And so that food eco is incredible at the moment. So this would actually be the time. Emu is starting to clean up everything else. Emu has the town centers. This would actually be a really good time for Emu to go water again, I think. And try and snipe the fish. Hard to know, though, what your opponent's doing with that position. You just don't know. And it's such a complicated game. There's so many different things to think about. But Red is making use of the situation pretty nicely here. And the fishing eco brings you food. And my game crashed because DE is stupid. I'll keep you updated on this in a second here, guys. So unfortunately, Capture Age won't allow me to watch the rest of this game. But fortunately for you, we've got a totally real, definitely not a reenactment, definitely not a fake moment. What happened yet? Next, sorry, from Emu Warrior. There was a transport. There was a couple of Showtail Warriors that go and slice and dice the wood line. And, well, then the enemy hits Imp. And then Trebuchets come out of that castle eventually. And Emu taps out. And the game is lost. But if you go back to the game here, and unfortunately the ending was a bit scuffed there. I gotta say, felt like Emu can take this game if an outpost is up earlier, in my opinion. It was super close. Obviously, Red's gonna have the fish, but I think upon seeing this TC foundation, if there's a little bit of vision there from Emu, you could actually just match the siege, right? You could match the siege. That TC was going up a long time ago. An outpost or two around the map with Ethiopians, you give all the vision on that. And then you could potentially deny your opponent's castle. You could defend your own and then get a castle up on that TC. And if that happens, Red's not building his own castle anytime soon. Red gets a lot more panicked, and Red certainly probably isn't going to think about Imp without having the castle first. That was a smart thing from Red, is once it was castle v castle, Red basically realized the best way to decide on that is the trebuchets, and balanced out the eco to eventually click Imp. Sorry, guys. I saved this a couple weeks ago. Sorry we didn't get the tail end of it. I'm not sure exactly what happened there. But we had land army on both islands. We had forward docks. We had one player going Navy, other player really not. I thought it was a cool game. I thought it was a unique one. Certainly not the best migration game ever, but a lot of different things happened here. So thanks again for watching, everyone. See you in the next one. And I'll be keeping up the content. Trust me, we've got a lot more to come over the next few weeks. Thank you.